telling her viewers, it would be to not give the kids a phone. On both sides of her, these are teenagers. They just look like they're forced to be here. And now Ruby is taunting them like, you're never going to get your phone back. It's just all sorts of weird. But the saddest part is, in the background, you can hear Chad saying,
and now I have no friends.
You can play with friends.
No, like I don't have friends.
I don't have friends either. I don't even know where they live. They're pretty far away.
So, summer goal, become the best athlete I possibly can.
How do you feel about not having any friends?
Sucks, but I don't feel safe or accepted in any friend groups. So
that's really vulnerable of you to say that on camera, because you don't have to film that.
No, it's true though.
And then she just skips over.
But on the real, Disney, if there's another thing that I learned from watching your movies, you know, sometimes life is good. Sometimes you have your challenges. You know, you're not destined to be up all of the time. That's just the circle of life. Like, that's all that you are experiencing right now. What? What? Ha! It's the circle of life.
Let's talk about Lori Loughlin and the Varsity Blues case. So, federal prosecutors have blasted Lori Loughlin and her husband Massimo and their motion to dismiss the case that was filed by their attorneys. Now, the defense had filed a motion to dismiss basically the whole case, alleging that the main perpetrator of this alleged conspiracy and the government's key witness, this Rick Singer, was doing all he could do to set up Loughlin and her husband. The defense has alleged that the government and Singer fabricated this evidence that basically shows that Loughlin and her husband knew that these were illicit bribes going to coaches rather than legitimate donations. The defense also alleged
it's a dystopia if humanity manages it badly. A world where there's going to be a lot of control, a lot of surveillance, a lot of forced compliance, and a hunger for power, greed, ego. And it is happening already. But the truth is, the only barrier between a utopia for humanity and AI and the dystopia we're going through is a mindset.
What does society have to do?
First of all,
I see messages all the time in the comments section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the simple, it's the free thing that anybody that watches this show frequently can do to help us here, to keep everything going in this show in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you've subscribed. And thank you so much, because in a strange way, you're part of our history and you're on this journey with us. And I appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you. Mo, 2 years ago today, we sat here and discussed AI. We discussed your book, Scary.
About federal regulations that the court is dealing with, because I think there's an argument for a lot of folks that these health decisions are left to localities and states. And when the federal government gets involved and makes a sweeping nationwide promulgation, I think it's harder for the federal government to defend that than it would be, say, for a local or state agency or entity where they are closer to and have more power when it comes to regulating public health. So I think the fact that these are federal makes them a little bit more vulnerable to arguments that they're inappropriate. But I also think, you could definitely put together 5 justices who would say, listen, we're in a unique time in history. The federal government is doing everything that it can. And in their assessment, their judgment, they think this will lessen cases and severity of illness and death. And, they've got a right to do it. So we'll see. I mean, I think that it's going to be a close call.
Alexi Lawless speaks his mind. Sports commentators aren't one to mince words. If a performance sucks, they're going to tell you about it. And Alexi Lawless, a former soccer star and pundit for Fox Sports, certainly told us about it.
It's dark days indeed, but this is a time for leaders to step up. And so to the supposed leaders, I will say this. All right.
While covering a match between the Seattle Sounders and LA Galaxy, Lawless unleashes a barrage of insults against the national United States soccer team. He singles out specific people, including Tim Howard, Jeff Cameron, and Clint Dempsey, and says that those that he didn't single out, quote, don't even warrant a mention.
To Brockman, so I don't know what he's talking about.
But that definitely wasn't you getting a foot massage from a Russian girl in Jeffrey Epstein's house.
No.
It might seem a funny way to break off a friendship, a 4-day house party of sorts with a dinner. It's an odd way to break up a friendship.
It's a difficult way of putting it. That's a very stark way of putting it. Yes, you're absolutely right. But actually, the truth of it is that I actually only saw him for about the dinner party.
Journey in raising a grand total of 19 children under fundamentalist Baptist principles. Over the 8 years they spent on cable TV, the Duggars not only broke records in terms of ratings, but became a spiritual icon for all to bear witness. Growing up in a Christian household myself, I actually spent a fair bit of time watching them with my family. Even at 11 years old, I was never the biggest fan and thought they were a little odd at times.
Oh man, good job.
But back then, my underdeveloped child brain had no real reason to suspect anything more sinister was at play behind closed doors. That is until a series of scandals that rocked not only the entertainment world, but the spiritual community as well. A disruptive wave of rumors, negative media attention, and poor crisis management that ultimately ended with the oldest sibling, Josh, being found guilty of some of the most detestable crimes imaginable. Going from an ideal picture
Please go watch my live stream.
大家好，我是小猫。这也许可能是我最后一条给大家发送视频了。你们也知道，我得抑郁症已经很久了，甚至在医院已经住了2个多月了。看过我朋友圈的朋友都知道，我那是盖了公章的，是抑郁症患者，而不是你们所谓的那一种假的抑郁症。那你们看到我开心的样子，其实都是为了给你们看到而看到的。我希望大家看到我的视频是开心的，是快乐的，是知道我也是快乐的。可是最近我真的绷不住了，所以想知道原因的话，那就来小号看我直播吧。放心，这一条直播一定不是带货和广告。谢谢你们陪我这么久，谢谢。
Let's begin our investigation into the world of false prophets at Kenneth Copeland's church.
He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it.
Perhaps the scariest and richest pastor in the world.
I am a rich Jew backed by a richer Jew.
I pulled up myself to see what his church actually believes in.
Not a ton of people here right now. We got an Israel flag, of course. I don't know anymore. Here's the thing about these places. They're all so nice. You feel bad coming in, even asking questions, because they're all so sweet to you. We're gonna hop out, go to church, give some money to God, and hopefully it 10x is like crypto.
What do some people misunderstand about the prosperity gospel?
I think they misunderstand the fact that in order for God to be able to accomplish what he wants to accomplish in the world, and through his people and with his people, and to those that don't know him, it takes finances to do that.
Money makes this world go round.
Absolutely.
Prosperity is an all-inclusive term. It's not about getting rich quick or anything like that, but having